Da 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 da! What's my good cheer? Welcome, everybody. We're doing a late one tonight, right? Right before bedtime. I think it's perfect. Monday. We're picking our next word. Can you believe that it's been 14 weeks already since we started doing What's My Good Cheer over here on YouTube. This show, What's My Good Cheer, it has been over on Instagram for a few years now. And it was such an amazing move. I always knew that it was coming on to YouTube. I was using Instagram as, a place to practice my craft in coming live. It's a much bigger game here on YouTube. And I wanted to make sure that I had enough lessons under my belt that, it's not like I just came on to YouTube in the past 14 weeks and here I am, right? No, there's been a lot of work and a lot of time put into the making of this little program that I have. This little program that's going to be around for probably, right, for the rest of my life. For the rest of the life that I am actually physically capable of showing up. And if I don't show up, right, something's up. But I will make sure that arrangements are taken care of so that everybody would be informed, right? That there wouldn't be any surprises and I wouldn't leave you hanging, right, without a proper goodbye. But we're talking decades away. I don't even know why I said that, but it is what it is. Today we are picking our next word, you guys. It's always a little bit nervous because I don't know what the word is that we're going to be working on, and I don't know what the topic is that I'll be delving into a little bit deeper tomorrow. But I do know it's going to be one of 60 something words that I have here on this page here. And it's going to be part of a deck that I'm putting together, 54 cards, all words, all motivational, inspirational, deep words with lots of lessons built into them, things that have served me well, right? I think for the most part, they're probably positive words, right? I would have to say they're positive words. I spent an afternoon writing down a whole page of words, came to the conclusion I was going to make that deck, knew I wasn't going to use all the words, but I also knew that we would kind of make it like a game, right? That we would get through these words each week. And I thought it would be fun that the first day it would be a fresh perspective on a word that I'm not quite sure what it's going to be for the whole week. And we're going to talk about this word the whole week. Hopefully, each day a different perspective, but I don't get a say in that. However it flows, right? I suspect because we have done 13 words, we're on our 14th word now, that pretty soon when I do my little pick the word thing, we're going to land on the same word. I was thinking about it, and today I thought if the word is an impactful word, a word that has made a big impact in my life, or I think would make a big impact in the world that we're living in right now, because we know it's crazy town, don't we? But if it's pertinent for the moment, that I would do that word again. But if I'm not feeling it, and I won't know until I pick the word, right? That we'll just do it again, because there is some words like when I was doing my live shows and I was having problems with my laptop, right? And I was being creative. I was still showing up every single day, but I had to be creative in how I showed up. One day I showed up with an old a webcam that I found in a box somewheres, and it turned out to be like 320. It was just really bad. You could barely see me, and I talk about my glasses looking through wax paper. Oh my goodness, you guys watching me, and you sat with me through the entire show. You commented on what's wrong with the video, but right, you stayed with me through the entire show. A couple of times more than a few times, I used my phone. That wasn't fun either, because in the format here on YouTube, it's a little bit different. But when you use your phone, right, it kind of swings the same way as Instagram. And these shows are important, because I understand that even though this moment it's live, it will at some point be shown to somebody, right? uh, in a moment of maybe being served as a lesson, or somebody with a similar experience as somebody watching the video, that it will be served later. So it's important for me to do the very best that I can, understanding it still has to be genuine. I want it to be casual, right? Not like a classroom formal, suity. You know what I mean? I just want it to be light, but at the same time, I do want the lessons to come through. So I just thought I would mention that if we do come across a word we've gotten before, I'm going to make that choice whether or not to delve into that word again. Because if we get the word believe, I'm going to want to, right, spend the week talking on believe again. But if it was something light that I was struggling, after a couple of days to stay on that topic, because we covered it so good in the first couple of days, well, maybe I will pass on it and then just pick another word in that process of getting our 54 words. I hope everybody is having a great start to their week. My week is winding down. Now I delve into those lessons for myself. I have grounded in the job that actually puts the roof over my head. In my days off, I put that off to the side, and I don't give it any consideration at all unless I'm being asked to pick up an extra shift, which I did tonight. Reason being why I'm coming in so late tonight, because it was a few extra hours, and Mama needs a new pair of glasses, right? So I will pick up those extra shifts if they do come available. Okay, you guys, let's just get right to it, and let's see what this word is going to be this week. Oh, I thought it said geniuses, and I went, geniuses? Oh yeah, we're gonna cover that one in about 5 minutes, and especially in a first perspective. But no, the word isn't genius. The word isn't strange, isn't it strange? Because you being here now, listening to the past few minutes of me talking, the word we have this week, our 14th word in our 54 words, is we got that word genuine, genuineness this week. What an amazing word. I think it's something that we need more of in this world, right? We have growing up, I think there's 3 or 4 generations growing up in a span of media where we are judging ourselves by magazine covers and advertising on TV. The sizing on clothes, it's really funny because, today I was straightening out the clothing shelves, and I was going through the plus sizes and there was this little blouse and it was like a little blouse. And I looked at the tag and it was a plus size and I'm going, oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Right? That these companies, right, where they go small, medium, large, extra large, plus sizes or whatever, get to dictate what a plus size is, what a medium size is, what a large size is. And if you're a woman like me, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Where you go to the plus size section or the extra large section or whatever size you are, knowing your size, and you go in and you pull out an extra large and it looks like this big. And what does it do to your emotional well-being when some company has dictated that a blouse that's in a obviously a very small blouse is being considered an extra large because of the target market that they're going after, right? So in that genuineness, right, I have to show up myself. I have to show up the best that I can, the most genuine way that I can, because I understand how I learn, right? That I don't like to be dictated to. I don't like to be told what to do. I don't like to be chastised. And it's an unfortunate, nobody likes that, right? Nobody. And right. So, and you're saying that to yourself, well, nobody likes that. Who likes that? Nobody likes that. Yeah, nobody likes that. But the thing is, as highly sensitives and as empaths, it impacts us, right? It really does impact us in a different way. And because we're feelers, right? We feel people out. We have an advantage and a disadvantage when it comes to genuineness. This is going to be interesting this week because, in one of those aspects, because, being empathic, being highly sensitive, right? You would consider people like me as the meek. Okay, right? I have a few different lessons. I ride in the middle, right? Because I've lived on the extremes of both ends. But I still fit in that category of the meek because I was so unaware of my potential, and it was intentional, and it was through the experiencing of others, right? And it was through the dictations of others that created the being that I am. So I do, right, in the middle, but at the same time, I consider myself in those same group of uniques and highly sensitives, but at the same time, being a feeler, and being in those. See, and it wasn't that I intentionally meant to be down there. I just didn't realize that there was an opportunity to be anything more than what I was, right? Anything more than I was expected to be, anything more that I saw remirrored in my own unique family that didn't even have expectations and hopes or optimism that I would be able to overcome myself, right? And also because of that naivety, naivety, right? That it was taken advantage of, and taken advantage of by people I thought who cared about me, right? But only cared about me only up to the extent that it served them. And I'm not going to go any deeper into that, except to say I wish they had been more genuine in that process, right? Because it would have been theirs anyway, right? I loved them, I cared for them. And if they had been genuine in that rather than representing something different, right? And then in the end, it's my fault for trusting because when you trust, you don't put those extra feelers out. You're not keeping a half eye on anything because you trust fully. You trust that somebody knows better than you, right? And so that's on me 100%, right? But at the same time, if they had been genuine in that process, being a feeler, right? I would have, what was that? Right? I would have noticed. And it's not that I didn't notice, it was just the fact that I trusted that it was just kind of overlooked that it was, oh, right, that's just the way she is, or that's just the way she is, right? And he doesn't mean it, or she doesn't mean it, and she's just different, right? She can do that because she's smarter than me, or she can do that, or he can do that because, right, he's stronger than me, or he's got better education, or right, they're better looking, or whatever it is. And it is in that comparison, right, that makes those layers and those levels where we're always looking to be better than ourselves, right? Like those magazines that represent, adult women 90 pounds wearing, right, bikini thongs and stuff, and then we're stumbling over ourselves and we're beating ourselves up, and the self-talk and the torture, because that's what we do. We torture ourselves, we punish ourselves because we don't look like that 90-pound, right, representation on a magazine, or a pretty movie star in a movie, right, representing a family dynamics. And you look at all the beautiful people in that family dynamics, and you look at your own family and you go, oh my goodness, we're a mixed bag. And then right, and in that judgment, we don't even need anybody to judge us because we're judging ourselves, right? We're judging ourselves. And in this world that we live in, where, right, nobody's recognizing the ungenuineness. And I have to say, I am guilty, right? I look at, here's a good example. I used to be a very big Big Brother fan. In fact, my journey here on YouTube started with a video audition that I did for Big Brother Canada. I wanted to be on Big Brother Canada, but I didn't have enough media under my belt. I didn't have any followings or anything. And we're going way back, 2013, right? And I've been on regularly on YouTube as a creator since 2014, but 2013 was the start of it when I started making videos. And the first video was on an audition for Big Brother Canada. And I actually started my YouTube to build my media and to build my following up so I could reapply and re-audition for another season of Big Brother Canada. I never did. Why? Because I fell in love with YouTube. I was an urban explorer, back road adventurer, and I did videos on YouTube. I've been on YouTube since 2014. This show is new to YouTube. What's my good year? But My Chatters Live, which is a live show here on YouTube, I've had that show up and running for years now, and I think we're on our fifth, I think, Christmas Eve party. So if you're not doing anything on Christmas Eve, we get together here on YouTube every year at Christmas Eve, and we have a Christmas Eve party. We have a pajama party Christmas Eve, and everybody gets together with their favorite drink or cocktail or a cup of coffee or eggnog or whatever it is. And we spend a couple of hours just hanging out together as friends, right? And as sometimes as people who want to celebrate the holidays but have nobody to celebrate the holidays with, right? And for the most part, that's not the case on my channel. Lots of the people on my channel have family and friends that they spend the holidays with. And out of consideration, they give me a little bit of their time. I am very grateful for that. But at the same time, it makes it comfortable for the few people that do come in that night who don't have family, who don't have friends. And we know that at Christmas time, it's a difficult time for a lot of people because it's a reminder of those relationships and sometimes that loneliness and that heaviness that we carry along with us, that we're all alone or we don't feel like we belong, that it gives us an opportunity to truly feel like we are belong for at least enough time to get you through the holidays that can be very difficult. And I spend Christmas alone every year. Right? I used to love Christmas. As a child, I loved Christmas, but I've had some experiences over Christmas that kind of, right, just made it another day for me in all reality, right? And but I try to celebrate. I have a ceramic Christmas tree, right? I have my Christmas stocking. I have my live show on Christmas Eve. I spend time with my friends here, right? I try to spend a little bit of time with my family, right? But for lots of people, it's a little bit deeper and a little bit more in your face. It's right. And sometimes all we need is to be able to get through that little bit of time that feels heavy. It's like what we were talking earlier this week that Cindy, this is a hard time for me these next few months. Every year it's like that. It brightens up for a little bit at Christmas time for a couple of weeks, but even then not very much, right? It's just that extra time, that time off, maybe the little bit of stress of where I'm going to get the presents and stuff. But usually I do pretty good with the presents. But again, it's for our friends, it's for the caregivers, it's something for us, and it's a really nice evening that we have on Christmas Eve. So I'd like to invite you. I'll be posting a community post on November 21st 25th to remind everybody it's a great little night. We have lots of fun. So if you're not doing anything, come and hang out with us. I tell you, my moderators chat more than me. And if you don't believe me, come and hang out with us on Saturday nights. We do our lives, chatters lives. Okay, you guys, I am not procrastinating and picking this word. First perspectives tonight. We picked the word already. silly girl, Cindy. But that's the one thing I'm going to have to say. When you're genuine, you can laugh at yourself that way, right? It's when you're supposed to be, right? We're all tight in our suit, presenting on a whiteboard with our marker. And for some people, that's amazing. And they're going to have their groups and they're going to have their followers. But my audience, right? We are casual. We're light and right, and we're going to resonate with what we resonate with, and we're going to like what we're going to like, and we're just going to laugh at the silly little mistakes that we make along the way, understanding that mistakes are okay. Okay, so let's just draw it back to the main branch and start again that we got this word genuine this week. It's very important for me. So we'll just start off with that where it concerns me. Very important for me to show up live here, genuine, as myself. Flawed, flawed, right? Or dressed up like a gift, right? However, I feel like in the moment, because I understand that there are so many parts of me, so many different moments, and in the ingredients of my moments, or the ingredients of the day, the ingredients of those conversations that we have. Sometimes they're great, sometimes they're not so great. It will determine how I show up here. I can never guarantee that I'm going to be bright and cheery and smiling every single day. What I can guarantee is that I will show up, and I will show up as genuine as I can be in the moment. I understand, right? Some of those topics that I tackle can be a little bit heavy, right? They can be a little bit preachy, right? But that's the idea, because it is motivation, it is inspiration, and it is with that good intent to bring people along for a ride if they so choose to, right? But you have to choose to. And if you choose to come out, hang out with me, sometimes in just hanging out with me and laughing at Cindy's little funny mistakes, right? That it's not something to point out and go, oh my goodness, get that dictionary out. She didn't pronounce that word properly. And oh my goodness, she said this when she really should have said that. Right? It's all good, because how I show up is how I'm going to show up. And how I show up is in genuineness. And I think there is a target audience for that, because in this world that we live in, it's getting less and less genuine, isn't it? It right? It's really, really, really hard to find our own kind. Number one, because we have to get those feelers out there. And if somebody's misrepresenting themselves, it's really hard sometimes to feel them out, because what you're feeling is the lie. And again, that idea that we don't want to distrust, right? We don't want to distrust, because if we distrust, we're going to look for it, and we're going to find it, we're going to see it, right? Because we are highly sensitives, we are hypervigilant, we are empaths, and we're going to know, right, if somebody's lying and if somebody is being somebody that they're not. But because we trust, right? We trust our friends, we trust our family, but we also sometimes don't understand, and I didn't understand this until well into my late 50s, that because there's so many parts of us, we dress all those parts accordingly, right? And in this moment, I can be genuine, right? But what if 5 minutes ago I just got into a big argument with my sister, right? And then I showed up live. I'm still going to be genuine, but that jittery is going to be inside of me. That frustration is going to be inside of me. That sadness that I had a disagreement with somebody is going to be inside of me. And as empaths and as highly sensitives, you may or may not pick it up in the morning, in the moment, right? But because you trust me, you might not be looking for it, right? You might just trust me, and that's the idea. Like, I would love to trust everybody that I bump into, but because this world is so ungenuine, is right, that we really, 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 really have to feel our way around, right? Even in our relationships, it's almost, and this is actually even a good example too. It's like when we first meet somebody, right? You put on your very best behavior. You right, your very best behavior, your very best manners, your very best considerations, right? The cologne, you do your hair, nice outfits. The guys, the exact same thing. You're opening up the door for the wife or the girlfriend, right? But when she's a wife, are you going to open up the door for her? No. Are you going to pick up the bags for her? Right? No, because we always end up falling back into what is genuine when we feel comfortable, right? We're not quite comfortable, and because we're attractive or we're doing that mating dance with somebody, we are, right? We're peacocking. We are dressing to the T's. We're watching our P's and Q's. We are right. If we're going out for dinner, we're picking at our plate and we're leaving all that delicious food on the plate because we don't want anybody to think that we are being little piggies, right? Or we won't drink so much, and right. And then after a while, when we become comfortable in that relationship, those true selves come to the surface. And by that time, you've moved in with the person. And the next thing you know, they're not giving you the kiss mornings anymore. They're leaving their underwear on the bathroom floor. They're not helping you with the dishes. They're not singing to you anymore. They're not bringing you flowers anymore, right? You have to plan a date night, and instead of it being once or twice a week, it's once a month, right? Because people fall back into people that they are in the moment, or not the, sorry, people fall back into the genuineness that they are in the moment. Oh, I did it again. People fall back into who they are. They can only hold a false face for only so long. But sometimes, right? That's all it takes, because this world is moving so fast, and because lots of us, and especially if you're sensitive and empathic, right? You want to belong. You want to feel like somebody cares. You want to feel that love. You want to feel that friendship, right? You want to feel that you're liked. And because we trust and we want to trust, right? That we automatically just jump into things and we move it so fast, because in ourselves we have to move fast because we have all these limiting beliefs, right? That we don't want them to see, right? We don't want them to see that we're crybabies. We don't want them to see that we're grumblers and complainers. We don't want them to see that we leave our underwear on the bathroom floor. We don't want them to see, right, that really that we have gutter mouths from hell. How long can I hold this up, right? And so we move into it really, 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 really fast until that person is trapped because they fell in love with something that wasn't genuineness. And once you're in love, right, you will make excuses for people. Oh, that's just right. You will. I've done it, right? And in those perpetrators, because that's what they are in the end, right? Because they got you, uh, or I got them through being ungenuine, for not being the real me. And in this world right now that moves so fast, right, relationships do move really, really, really fast, right? In my day, in the 70s, growing up, I only knew one friend, one person who only had one parent, and I'm not even sure if that parent passed away. I don't remember, or if they divorced. But it just was not common. In my family, I was the very first to be divorced. There was no divorce in history. Even my grandfather, who was an abusive alcoholic, right? my grandmother, even though she kicked him out constantly, they never divorced, and she always took him back whenever he went into those, right, those times of not drinking and sobering up, right? And she, I'm sure, got trapped in that. I'm sure he didn't let her know that he was an alcoholic. He probably drank very, very little in that romancing of my grandmother. But once they're married, right? And in that comfortableness, he just let his true self show. But by that time, right? Oh, that's just my husband. Oh, that's right. Right. And then we start making excuses for people because we're trapped in it, because we love them and it reflects on us, and because we can't get out of it. It's a little bit now different now, right? Right? You can, but then again, it's a lot of baggage to take into that real relationship, that genuine relationship. And when you go through the ringer that many times in those relationships, that it's difficult to even find your own genuineness, because you've adapted and changed yourself, like me. In going to 11 different elementary schools, I adapted myself every time I moved into a new school, right? Slight adjustments just to see if I could find a better way to settle in. I was not even genuine in myself. It was just all chameleon work, right? It was all chameleon. And I would hate to think that, that I would come in all prim and proper. You won't hear me swear very much. Right? My dad brought us up. We weren't allowed to swear until we were 18 years old. And by the time we were 18 years old, we weren't swearing anyway, the odd shit word, but really we weren't swearing anyway, so it's just not part of our vocabulary. And it was just, even though I was allowed to swear, right, it just didn't happen because it wasn't part of our programming, right? But I will show up here genuine to the best of my ability. We live in that world. I'm stumbling along too, right? I'm trying to do this genuinely, but I do understand that some of these topics that I talk about, they're out there, and right, and sometimes those conversations, you have to be creative in how you present them, how you draw people into them, right? But I try to do it in a way that, right, that it's just always me. So I don't beat myself up when I stumble over my words, or if I make a mistake in the pronunciation, right? Genuineness, right? But there was a word that I had earlier and I tried to say it, and I just kept messing it up, right? In that pronunciation. But I can beat myself up for all those mistakes that I make. But I would have to say that those mistakes serve me well, because every time I make a mistake, right, I try to course correct. And in that course correction, I'll just get a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, until I have it down packed. In those baby steps, too, right? It also stops me from making those rash, quick decisions out of that necessity, that need, that want, right? To belong, to feel like I'm loved, to feel like I'm worthy, smart, beautiful, whatever it is, right? That sometimes that we just move quickly because we want to get engulfed in a relationship, so that, right, it makes it difficult for somebody to walk away, right? And I've had enough people in my life walk away, right? And it's not fun, but in each one of those was it walkaways? In each one of those relationship endings, there was always a new one that popped up. I am curious. This is the first time in these past half a dozen years, I'm going to say that I've shed most of my acquaintances because of that importance of being genuine. And when you're genuine, right, it's a reflection of who you belong with, right? Who you can have conversations with, who you can trust, and that's the whole point of being genuine, right? Is to build that trust. Because if I wasn't genuine and if I represented myself as Cindy the Grand, all-knowing, right? How's that going to serve me? And how's that going to serve you? Because who I want to serve is the light in the darkness. Who I want to serve are those highly sensitives, are those empathic people who are smarty pantses in some way, who through their hypervigilance, through their experiences in their own life, have been able to learn to move through their emotions, to be able to feel out the truths, right? To understand and recognize a truth from an untruth. And that's a gift, right? And it's a much needed gift in this world that we live in right now because of that ungenuineness that we have been, well, kind of programmed, isn't it? Right? We've been programmed to, through the media, to strive and work to be those, right? Those 90-pound, right? Cutie patooties, or those go-getter, right? Corporate millionaires driving Jaguars, and right? Or even in our religious ideas, right? To be good Christians or good Muslims or whatever your religion is, and right? And if you resonate with some stuff and don't resonate with others, in our genuineness, right? To be able to express that, oh, I don't get this. I don't really believe this part, right? But because you're not expressing that, you don't really get to experience something that was truly meant for you. It's part of why I am non denominational, right? Because I do not want to enmesh myself and say, oh my goodness, okay, I'm going to be a Christian, or I'm going to be a Hare Krishna. I'm going to, right, practice Buddhism, right? Be a Tibetan monk or spirituality, right? I'm not like, if it happens, right? You got to go with what you go if you understand it to be the truth. But for my audience, right, in my genuineness, I have to say, I'm not drawn to any specific religion in any way, but what I am drawn into is the movement of our race, right? To make sure that we don't go extinct, and to be able to feel my way out in this world and be able to recognize the problems in the world and actually, right, pick a give back that I think is much needed. It's much needed. And again, I don't know how well I'll do at it, but I can tell you that I enjoy it. I'm finding resolution and comfort and understanding for myself. I'm sharing that journey because I show up fresh like a loaf of bread. But I don't tell people this is how it is. I'm sharing my story. I'm sharing my lessons. And, yes, there's that hope and that anticipation that maybe you might see the evidence in me being genuine, right? That in that span that you spend with me, that you can trust me, and maybe not trust every single word, because I am a student just as much as I am a teacher, and I'm just as much a spectator as I am a participant. And I am handicapped and gifted at the same time, just like every single person in this world, right? But I don't misrepresent those gifts, and I don't misrepresent those issues, because I show up here genuine, right? You guys can clearly see the lessons that I'm missing out on, but the lessons that I've got, right? And the gifts that I have, right? And I think in being able to recognize that, and also with me being able not to be afraid to show that soft part of me, that meek part of me, right? That is going to what is going to draw my target audience, because I want you to feel me out, right? I don't have that opportunity as you as the spectator, right? Or you as the student, um, to be able to feel you out, unless you're hanging out with me in the comments or hanging out on Chatters Live on Sunday nights, which is amazing, right? To be able to do that, right? I do it with my sister. Oh my goodness. I feel her out in her text. Oh, in a second, right? We feel it out in the text. But, right, without that mutual interaction, right, you can only feel me out. So my hopes is that you will feel that genuineness, right? You will feel that genuineness and build that that trust, right? That over time, and give it as much time as you need, because because I am in my lessons. I am practicing my craft. And even though I have clients, I don't have those paying clients, right? So we just move, right? I just show up fresh like a loaf of bread with the lessons that I have in the moment. I give you my first perspectives on a word that we pick for in the week. Genuineness. I think that's a great word for this week. And I think it's a word that we need to spend a little bit of time looking at, because finding our groups is dependent on being able to feel out the ingenuineness, right? Because we all have it. We all have it, right? Just going to the closet and picking out an outfit in the morning, right? To go to your class or to go to work, right? Because you want to represent, right? You want to represent something. But usually you want to represent, well, if you're like me, you want to represent how you feel in the moment. Like today, I thought I was going to be I was picking up an extra shift. I thought I was going to be working in the back room and outside a little bit today. So I wore big heavy sweats and I wore big heavy hoodie, right? But that was genuine. I dressed out of the need, right? I didn't dress to impress. I dressed for the comfort and to make sure that I didn't get sick running in and out of the building when it's snowing and cold, or raining snow. It's raining snow this week. It's not good, right? That's where people get sick, is in that wet cold. I might go to get my flu shot tomorrow, or my booster shot. I think it crossed my mind yesterday, and just now it crossed my mind again. And because I have a day off tomorrow, it might be a good idea if I go get that shot, especially when there is so much moisture in the air. Okay, you guys, I am babbling off, right? It has been a day. I went off. Oh, here, before I take off, me and my sister, we do thrifting on Mondays. And she phoned me this morning and she said, Cindy, want me to come and get you? We're going to go thrifting today, right? And I says, oh my goodness, I just made bread. It's not going to be ready for 2 hours. It's still got to be rised and punched down and panned and rised and then baked. I says, it's going to be at least 2 hours before I'm ready to go. She says, okay, well, I'll go shopping by myself and I'll come and pick you up after these couple of stores and I'll come and pick you up and then we'll go do those few stores. I says, oh, that's perfect, right? I didn't want to miss out on an outing with my sister. And then she took off and she went to a thrift store today. And behind the counter was a great big box full of die cast cars, train cars, hundreds of them, right? Those little miniatures like our Nancy has, right? I sent Nancy some pictures of them. Um, so she phones me and she says, oh, look what I got. She showed me everything she got. And I went, oh my goodness. I wish I was with you, because if I was with her and we did it as a team, then it would have been, it's all hers. Well, it turns out she's got thousands and thousands of dollars worth of trains. When she dropped me off at work tonight, she went home and she did the research on them. She's got thousands of dollars and she paid $300 for them. Right? So I congratulate her. Super, super happy for her. I'm super happy for my sister. She's pretty killer at what she does, right? It was really killing. But I wish I was with her 100%. I wish I was with her. It must have been super duper exciting. And I'm happy for her. Okay, you guys, I'm babbling off again. Right? So this week we got word number 15, and I better mark that number down right here. Number 15. And then yeah, we'll be on it tomorrow. I'll be delving into the subject online a little bit. We'll pick it up in a different perspective. I don't know how. Maybe it'll be a family story. Maybe it'll be another thought leader's perspective on it. Maybe it'll be a quote, right? Maybe it'll be an experience. I don't know. We'll figure it out tomorrow, you guys. Have a great night. Take care. Bye-bye.